Nick Garrison. Nick, how you doing?
I'm good. Good to be back. Thanks for having me again.
Yeah, of course. We love having you here in the studio. So you have been a very busy man, doing a lot of traveling, and pretty busy in the brewery as well. So
that's right.
We thank you for making the time to join us here today. So want to showcase some new beers, some new news that's going on, and talk about some achievements that the brewery has had recently. So let's start off with some new news that you guys are growing, expanding, getting bigger, lots of that kind of cool stuff. Why don't you tell us about the expansion news?
Yeah, I have been quite busy. I just got back from trips to New Jersey and Northern Virginia, where we just launched Foolproof within a couple weeks of each other. So very exciting to be expanding our distribution footprint outside of the Ocean State and New England altogether. So so far so good. We're really looking forward to launching those markets.
I mean, that's incredible and pretty powerful to be able to say we're stepping outside of New England. So why did the choice to hit those locations?
So we found some really great wholesale partners, which in this business is incredibly important because we're in that distribution model where we're selling our beer to wholesalers and they sell it on to the liquor stores and the bars and restaurants, etc. So we just found two fantastic companies. Both markets seemed like they were kind of ripe for the opportunity for a New England beer to come down there. There's not a whole lot of New England craft beer down in that part of the country, so we see Mid-Atlantic as maybe like a new expansion point for Foolproof.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So you hit up New Jersey and Virginia. What was it like for you to be down there making connections with different wholesalers and distributors? What was that like for you to make sure you're making the right choice where you're taking that risk, but it's not too risky?
Yeah, well, it's first off, it's really exciting because no one's heard of the brand, and you're kind of starting from ground zero, which has its challenges, of course. But no, it's great to take like this sort of export from Rhode Island and bring it down there and introduce it to a whole new group of people. And you never know if one of these markets takes off. Rhode Island is a pretty small market by population. You go into a state like New Jersey where there's 9 million people. And that could easily become your #1 market. So it's kind of a mix of emotions. It's a little scary, it's exciting, it's all balled into one.
I think that's pretty cool and pretty exciting. We talked a lot on this show about beer as a business, about food being your business in a lot of ways. Talk to me about, I was kind of curious about this when we were going back and forth. If people are in these other states, they're drinking your product, and say they come to Rhode Island and they're like, hey, I've heard about Foolproof. I've had Foolproof at home. And they're coming here on vacation. Does that give them an opportunity? Is that then in their mind that like, maybe I'll come to the brewery then? Maybe I'll come make this part of my destination because these millennials are all about experience, right?
Yes, yes.
And making trips about destinations. I'm a millennial, so I can say that nicely because that's what I like to do. Is that maybe part of this, or could that be a nice byproduct?
Yeah, well, I think what you're touching on, Molly, is this idea of beer tourism.
Yeah.
And the idea of like people coming to Rhode Island or Massachusetts or anywhere actually and making beer part of that trip. And
yeah.
That is absolutely a thing. It's definitely something that's happening right here in Rhode Island. It happens at Foolproof. I mean, we see people, such a eclectic mix of people that come to the brewery. We have local people, we have folks from out of town, we have regulars that are in there every week. So it's really exciting. So I think, in short, the answer is absolutely. People are seeking out these breweries as part of a tourism experience, and we love having them.
Because I think, you don't have to go to Germany, right? You don't have to go to Oktoberfest to go to Oktoberfest. You can stay right here, and it's becoming more and more popular. So I think when expanding the product to these different places, you can expand Rhode Island to different places too, right?
Yeah, absolutely. No, and it's kind of cool. You feel like every time somebody buys a can of Foolproof, like they're buying a little piece of Rhode Island with them. So, just going back to places like Virginia and New Jersey, I think that point hammers home even more in those markets than some of our more local markets up here in New England.
Yeah, I know when I go to a bar, go to a restaurant, whatever, we always like to go through the beer list and guess where it's made. Mm-hmm. That's one of our favorite things to do when we're out. We're like, okay, where's this? So it would be fun to be in another place and say, oh, there's Foolproof, made in Rhode Island. We know that one. We recognize that one.
Yeah, you also have a surprising number of people, like you might have kind of expats, Rhode Island living down in those markets, and they're looking for something familiar.
Yeah.
And so you can have this whole sort of unknown market just in out-of-state Rhode Islanders living in those markets that you might be reaching as well.
Definitely, definitely. So you're starting with those two. Are you kind of getting a feel? Are these almost like tester outside the markets, or are you looking to expand then after that, see how this goes?
I mean, I think we've always got our eyes open.
Yeah.
We're finally starting to move out of winter a little bit, so that usually means in the beer world we're going to have our hands full just in terms of supporting our current markets. So I would be surprised if we enter any new markets within the next few months, just as we ramp up for summer, and we have some new beers coming out in our home state, so we'll have our hands full with that as well. But you never know. I mean, we do try to keep an open mind about every possibility, every opportunity.
Well, congratulations to you, because that's very exciting and pretty big. So you did mention we have new beers coming up. So let's talk a little bit about this.
Sure.
We have a couple here, but this is kind of the big one and the exciting one. I think it's fun that some people are saying everyone's always brewing IPAs in Rhode Island. So you're taking a step in a different direction and brewing maybe not an IPA.
Yes, there is a little bit of IPA burnout out there sometimes, despite the amount of IPA that we still brew. But we kind of took that feedback to heart, and so many people saying, sometimes I just want something really light, refreshing, low alcohol, a lower price point, and we kind of sat down as a team and we realized, well, we can check all of those boxes with one beer. So we're getting very excited to launch our new Ocean State Lager. And it's going to be actually shipping out in kegs first next week, and then toward the end of March we'll have the cans available. So what I brought today is actually not a real beer can. It's a pilot, which might be kind of interesting for people to see. This is how you make a beer can. You first get a proof essentially and approve it. But that's what the can's going to look like, and hopefully we'll see a whole bunch of those on shelves in Rhode Island and around New England this summer. So we're getting very excited.
Do you always have your team? Has it been the same original team doing the design this whole time? Because the design's always on point.
Oh, thank you very much. Yeah, I'm very fortunate. My friend and our partner Liz Weinberg, who's a RISD graduate, nice local story there. She does all the work, and she and I kind of collaborate on the designs and the copy and the beer names, and also obviously taking input from my team as well. So we have a very kind of hectic, bizarre creative experience, if you will, but we're always happy with the end product. So
it looks good, like you said, on point. Ocean State Lager, basic, simple, easy. That's kind of the point, right? Easy to drink, easy to
and brewed right here in Rhode Island. So
gotta love that. So people can expect it. If you want a keg for St. Patrick's Day, you can get that, right? And
Sure.
If you want cans, it'll be at the end of the month.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, that's cool. So on tap when in the brewery if people want to come grab it?
So we'll be kegging it next Monday. So
Okay.
we open for tastings Thursday through Sunday. So probably next Thursday will be the first time you can come in and taste a pint of Ocean State Lager. Maybe grab a growler or howler to go. And then the cans won't be too far behind, but you have to wait a few more weeks for those.
Because for me, I think I would like just to have this can, right? Like for people who want gifts for friends and that kind of thing. I mean, this is a great gift for people. Oh, like even if they don't drink beer, it's kind of a fun can.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly. And it's always exciting for us releasing a new beer because, we don't know how it's going to do. We don't know what the feedback's going to be. And so, again, it's kind of like launching a new market. There's a little bit of terror and excitement blended together, but we're really optimistic about this. I think it's a great beer at a great price point, and it really hits home in the Rhode Island market.
I like that. But, I mean, do you still get nervous when you release a new beer? Because you do.
Particularly when you buy a truckload of cans, which is what we're required to do. So,
okay.
But
because it's money. Okay, I get it.
I feel like after all the time and consideration we put into the beer itself, the recipe development, the packaging, the naming, we've really analyzed things as best we can, and I feel pretty optimistic about it.
Okay, that's good. I can understand that. Because I was going to say, you've gotten to the point where you've built up the credibility, you've built up to the success. You have enough to get to the point where maybe you shouldn't be nervous, but I can understand. It
wouldn't be fun if it wasn't scary.
Well, okay, I can hear that. Let's talk a little bit about some of the other stuff that you have going on.
Sure.
What did you bring with us today?
So I just brought some of our current seasonal beers that are out there. They're both relatively new. They're both dark beers, which is very fitting for the weather we've been having. Probably the most popular one is our new Vanilla Espresso Rain Cloud. And if there are any coffee drinkers / beer drinkers, you definitely got to check this beer out. It's fantastic. Italian espresso coffee, vanilla, and then using our Rain Cloud porter as sort of the base. And it's in this nice sleek 16-ounce can, and it's been doing very well for us. And the other beer I brought was, some of our viewers might be familiar with our Forecast project. Forecast is essentially a rotating beer series, and it's a play off of New England weather. So just like it was snowing yesterday and then it was 60 degrees in the afternoon, it's very unpredictable, it changes all the time, and that's what this beer is all about. So this particular iteration, which is Chapter 4, is a Black India Pale Lager. And so one of the unifying themes of this beer is like, we're always brewing kind of an unusual beer style or are using, different ingredients. So if the reaction is, that sounds kind of weird, we've done our job with Forecast. So.
Wait, if that sounds weird, we want it.
Yeah.
That's what we like. Like chocolate and oysters in a beer.
That's right.
But you have fun with it. And I like the idea that you want to be creative with your beers and you still want to make it good, you want to make it fun.
Yes.
And because the whole theme behind this, kind of your mission, is experience-based beers. Talk to me about how you've encompassed that as a theme throughout this whole brewing experience.
Sure, yeah. I mean, for me, I opened Foolproof because I love this idea of beer as an experience. That's what it was always about to me. And so everything we do, from our packaging, to our experience in the tap room, to our events, it's all about the customer experience. And so I've always felt that if we stay true to that, we're going to be successful. So we have some pretty cool events coming up along those lines. We just had a Valentine's Day event last Wednesday, beer and chocolate and oysters, very romantic.
That is romantic.
And then actually this Wednesday we have a Paint and Pints event where you come in and you actually learn how to paint, and you have a few beers too, so you don't sweat it too much if you're not good. We still have tickets available for that, by the way. If you want to go to foolproofbrewing.com, visit our Facebook events page, you'll find ticket links there. So.
Great. Yeah, and that's what's cool is that not only do you have the opportunity to come in, grab a drink, hang out with your friends, but you also offer these experiences like the pints and painting. You have yoga all the time, which yoga's way better, I would think, with beer. But I do like yoga. Comedy events,
yep.
Frequently. You've offered music, like different kinds of music, though, in the past.
Mm-hmm.
Not just you would think of like a live band, but different types of music in the past. So I think that's really neat, just continuing to kind of push that experience-based opportunity. Let's talk a little bit about not just making beer, but making good beer. How about that? So you took home some awards at the this is a long competition.
It's quite an acronym.
They
yes.
throw every different type of adult beverage into this award show. So kudos to you for winning a couple awards. The Great International Beer, Cider, Mead, and Sake Competition. So you took home number 1 in a few categories. The Light Ale for Barstool Golden Ale, awesome, and Robust Porter. So number 1 in both those categories.
Yes.
So for Rain Cloud Robust Porter. So that's pretty cool. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
Big competition though. I
It
mean,
is,
a lot of events.
So first off, we wouldn't be there without my production team, our head brewer Steve Sharp. Those guys just work tirelessly, and when we take home these medals, it really means a lot to them. It means a lot to me, obviously, but I'm not the guy making the beer anymore, so I think it means a lot to them. But yeah, we were just so thrilled and humbled to take home 2 gold medals in what has become, I believe, the second largest medaling competition for beer in the United States. So this, the long acronym, it was previously the Great International Beer Festival, and then it moved down to Connecticut from the convention center here in Providence, and they incorporated, I think, sake and cider and some other beverages. But every year the competition grows, so that means it's that much harder to win a medal. And so to take home 2 and let alone gold medals was very special for us. I think we were the most award-winning Rhode Island brewery, so we're very, very excited about that. And it's a total blind competition, so you don't know, like when you're judging in it, you don't know what you're drinking. There's no bias in terms of like who's brewing the beer, so it's taking home a medal is a big deal.
I mean, that's absolutely incredible, and to get 2, so this, I mean, yeah, it's a big deal. Does that make you feel, just kind of give you that confidence to make sure you can continue to do what you're doing year after year? Does it kind of just give you that boost?
I mean, I think we're always so critical of ourselves, but winning something like this is definitely validation that hey, we're doing something right.
Yeah.
And so it's definitely a nice tip of the cap to have take home those medals. But we're still working every day on just continually improving our beers, being as innovative as we can, listening to customer, and really understanding what they're looking for.
Definitely. Before we let you go, Nick, I want to talk to you a little bit about the changing beer climate here in Rhode Island. It's continuously growing. You've been going at this for a long time. And we've kind of talked about this the past couple times you've been on. Just what are your thoughts? We're seeing more and more breweries pop up. We're seeing more people get into the craft brewing business industry. What are your thoughts? You've stuck around for this time and you're continuing to grow and expand. What's it like for you?
I know, I'm like the old guy now. I've been around for 5 years. Well, first of all, it's great. It's fantastic to see this. I always refer to it as the mini Rhode Island beer renaissance. And so it's great to see the continuation of that. And people ask me all the time, like, how many breweries are in the state? And honestly, I feel like week to week you can't give an accurate answer to that question.
It's changing.
But last time I checked, I think by the end of this year, in all likelihood we'll have 25 breweries operating in Rhode Island. So it's great. I mean, it certainly creates a very competitive market, but that's ultimately a good thing for the beer consumer because it means you have to put out the best beer possible. You got to put your best foot forward, and that really benefits everyone, particularly the consumer. So I still think there's a lot of room for growth, particularly us. I think we're just getting started.
That's awesome. I think we'll leave it with that. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thanks for having me on. Absolutely.
Always a pleasure. So if you're interested in any of those events or any more information on their beer release date and when you can buy it, we'll have a link, of course, to Foolproof Brewery on our website, golocalproud.com. Please hang tight. We're going to get set up for our friend Jim Fortier with Blueprint 5 here in just a moment. So thanks for watching here on Golocal Live. Hang tight. We'll get set up.